Hello class, welcome to week 2. What I'm going to do this week is start off with a little recap from last week and then move into this week's here. So the first one is on the discussion boards. And so far there's been a lot of really great posts on the discussion boards, the two that we've had, and um, the one thing that's lacking a little bit is responding to other people's posts. So this is not really supposed to be just a you talking to the world discussion board, but a chance to have discussions with your classmates. So remember that the discussion boards are graded on 2 points. 1 point is for your post, the other point is for someone else's post. For your response, sorry, to someone else's post. So, one of the things too is that it's okay to disagree with other people. So if someone shows a site or mentions something you don't disagree with, it's okay to respectfully do that, or also to ask, for a little clarity, like you didn't quite understand what they said as well. And if you do agree with them, just saying sort of, yeah, hey, that's cool, is not what I'm looking for. To agree with them in specifics, right? So all the part of the big point of this discussion boards, there's two things really. One is to get you to know each other a little bit better because you are your best resources, and I found that when you're looking for jobs and other things outside of school, people you know are going to be the biggest help. And the other one is to get you used to talking about web design in a specific way. And so not just to say, yeah, that's cool, but to say, I agree that the logo that they used and the typeface or the font or whatever that was used on that site really supports what you're saying about its design or whatever else it is. If you haven't posted in either one, please do it now. For the introductions area, I really especially want everyone to make sure they introduce themselves. So there will be no late penalty for not posting in there. Generally, I give you penalties of half off for posting late because the discussion board is really a timely thing where we all need to do it at the same time. But it's better to do something than to do nothing. And also, in the introductions, what I've done this time is actually given you 2 points just for posting. So you technically don't have to reply to someone, but if you do, you'll get an extra credit point. So I'd like you to all go in there and reply to other people's posts as well. The other thing that I'm going to do with, excuse me, discussion board posts and other things is there's going to be a post of the week that I think is an interesting or good post for one reason or another. I'll probably mention some other people too, and then also sort of an example of the week that I'm going to have as well. That just it could be example of your homework or a site that someone gives that I like that I think is a good example. So this week it's a actually let's show this one. I'm going to go into Great Web Design here, and then to see all of the ones that I want to see here under select all here, I'm going to click go, and that selects everything. And then I'm going to do collect up here at the top. So we click collect, and I can see all of them. So the first one I wanted to just mention in terms of as an example was one that Seda, and I hope I'm saying your names right because it's hard to see. Posted where did he post it? Here we go, crushlovely.com. All right, and the link here is to it. And one of the reasons I wanted to just let you guys take a look at this and make sure you saw it is has a couple interesting things going on. One is most of the first part of here, everything that this navigation links to. This is, by the way, a website of basically a web design company in digital design. Everything that links on this section here is on that page, so it all links to different parts of the page. And what they've done is they've also frozen this navigation on the left so that it stays there. And so what you have with this is basically one page that lists everything, but also they've separated each page out with a background. So each page sort of has its own background here, as you can see, and it's a great way to see different kinds of ways that backgrounds can be used to add interest to a page and make it lively, also on top of their typography. And they've also stuck to a grid, by the way, which we're going to talk more about later. Um, so this is just one I thought you guys should all see. I thought it was a really good example. Oh, by the way, the people who could give the example of the week and the post of the week each get an extra credit point as well in their discussion board for that week. So in terms of, that's getting ahead of myself there, the post of the week, I'm giving that to Michael Uzi, um, mainly because there's a lot of people, and I can mention a few other people. Let's see. Um, James, I thought had a great post this week as well, and Shade, Ellie here as well, all did a good job of just using specific language um, to describe what they did and what they were looking at. Um, and one of the things, though, that I wanted to point out here that also Michael did, and I agree with this, is he has a couple negatives that he put down that he didn't like. And actually, for me, those negatives are really big because on this site, Le Bernardin, it's a flash website for a very, very high-end restaurant in New York. Is that you have to keep clicking this return button. It's a little awkward, and also for me, the other problem with it is if you go to it on like an iPhone or something, um, you can't see it because it's flash and it shows you this really horrible HTML interface. Um, but what I wanted to mention this is that as you're going through and saying what you like and why you like what you like, also it's perfectly good, and you should mention things you don't like or things that are negative about the site. So Michael gets that post for the week, and a shout out to where is that? I mean, um, this is actually another Flash site as well. Um, but one of the things mentioned here is, said, well, the site should be simple and easy to read, but I think this site combines complex design elements and functionality. And it's great to also not have to, completely go with what everything that I say or the book says. These are starting points, they're general ideas, they're things that are out there in design, and you have to go bring your own idea to it. And so generally designers tend towards simple, and a lot of you will like simple and want to do it. But there's also ways to do websites that are not necessarily simple, but still great design. And so this is an example of it. This is it. It's a Flash website. It takes a minute to load and so forth. And I'm gonna have to turn the sound off. It's a band, so the sound is actually appropriate in this place. Although it also has, which you should have, if you have sound, there should be a way to turn it off there. But this is an example of a multi-layered design. It's an aesthetic that is used a lot now. It's done a lot, and it can look really great. If it's done wrong, it can look really horrible too. But this is, I think, I agree with you that this is a good example of design, and it uses a lot of different illustrations and photos and other things together to make this sort of multi-layered, very complex design. Alright, so the next section here I want to go to is assignments. So if you go to the My Grades thing here, which I'm not going to click on just because it doesn't do anything for me, if you turn your assignment in probably by sometime on Friday, you actually have comments back already. For those of you who turned it in and it was still on time, don't worry, those were early people. If you turn it in, Sunday or whatever, I'll be grading it this week. And what I do is when I grade your assignments, I write some comments in it. So if you click View Complete on the assignment, or in my gradebook, there's a way to get to it too. You can see my comments on it. I usually say I think there's a rollover that lets you see comments where it's sort of unformatted and can be really hard to read. So you often want to click into it. And I wish I could show it to you, but I can't because I don't have that interface here. So look at my comments. Even if you got 10 out of 10, all the assignments are worth 10. So the discussion boards are worth 2 points. The assignments are worth 10. If you got all the things right on the assignment and got 10, I still might give you some comments. And if you didn't get 10, I'll give you comments, tell you why. You can always fix those, turn it in again, and get the full 10 points. So every assignment you can get 10 points if that's what you want to do and keep working on it. And the only problem with Blackboard is to turn it in Again, Blackboard won't let you do it unless I clear the assignment. So if you want to redo an assignment, you have two options. One is to just email me the assignment and say this is the redo for this particular assignment. The other option is to email me and say, can you clear it so I can upload it again. That's often the case if it's too big to fit in an email, the file that you have for some reason. As we go forward, I'll be having you turn it in on the web anyway by URL, so that won't really matter. Okay, so remember you can turn in every assignment as many times as you need to get 10 points. You can't get full 10, by the way, if you turn it in late and you get points off for lateness. Those points stay off. The other thing about the assignments I'll do for this week is I'm going to try to collect all the websites that you guys gave and post them up somewhere, maybe in course information or something like that, so you guys have a chance to take a look at those. Okay, so let's go into this week. So going to weekly guide here on the left, remember, and then here weekly planning and research. So obviously right here when I'm done with this video there'll be the link to this screencast up here. And what this week is a lot, okay? I understand it. It's sort of a couple different things going on at one time, and it's hard to avoid. It's not going to be like this every single week with a bunch of different stuff going on. It gets more focused as we get towards the midterm, which we're going to be talking about in a second. So just so you know that this isn't indicative of every single week. The first thing to do is read Chapter 2 in the book. And if you haven't already, in course information here, I have a link to free sample chapters, so that has Chapter 2 in it in the book. So I suggest that you take a look at that and read it. Let me just see if I can open up. I had it open here a second ago. And let's see. Oh, give me a second. So this is the book, and you will have Chapter 2 is research. And actually, it's not a lot. It's I'm asking for a whole chapter, but the first few pages have some text in it. But then you'll start to notice that each page has like a page of images, and then and maybe a couple text pages, and then this one again has an images. So there's a lot of images on it, and so, it's about 18 pages, but half of those have a lot of images on them there as well. And basically, what he's doing is he's going through the idea of the design brief, where the client tells you, here's what I'm looking for. Oops, I went too far. So that's what I'm going to give to you, and we're going to go over that. But basically, the idea here is going through this process where you don't just start designing and sort of go on a whim, but you actually take the time to talk with your client, figure out what the site's going to be about before you really start fully designing things as well. So there's some questions here that you'll look at that they have. Those are good ones to take a look at because they'll pertain to the homework. This whole design brief actually has to do with both the discussion board and the homework for this week. So the reading is really relevant to what you're required to do this week. So that is the design brief, and so let's see. That's under again free sample chapters. You can get that after this week. It won't be free, so you're gonna have to get the book on your own. The next part is this design brief inspiration collection. As part of that, his ideas here, he talks about making getting inspiration from about the atmosphere of it, the composition, the functionality, and then looking around to find your own inspiration for things and having some collection tools here. So what I did is I made a little screencast and have some links here that help tell you how to use these tools and what's done, because the book doesn't really tell you that much about how to do it. So these are some links. By the way, I have to apologize. Some of the links that he shows of his own stuff in the book is not there. I added a few of the links. These are from the author, and then I added some other Flickr links that show examples of other people doing it too. I think one of these is in the book. I think this one is from the book, and then there's some other ones there as well. Okay, and then what this is this is a YouTube video. that I'm gonna have to mute. Um, and that video talks about how to use Flickr and a little bit about Evernote, and also how to use a screen capture tool built into Firefox. So if you want to take pictures of stuff from the web to do this, there's add-ons to Firefox that let you do that while you're browsing the web. Okay, and then the last sort of part with the design is the website reading, which is this is more general theory. So I'm going to hold the control key down, or on the Mac, the Apple key. If you do that, it'll open the link in a new window right up here. Um, so this page on the site has to do with the basic sort of design principles, and so it goes through each one of these and talks about them. I mentioned it a little bit more, previously in my last one, but it's worth going over these again and again. It's sort of part of it is to get it in your head, this theory thing, and then as you go to apply it and as you do your design, you can go back and look at these pages and say, did I get the alignment right? What about proximity? How did I use that? Repetition, aesthetics, usability, and so forth. And then that's sort of the design side of things. And then the next part of this week, and this is what I mean by it's a lot, and I apologize, is HTML. Now, some of you may need more or less than this. So there's an HTML basics page on the website, which I'm going to open up that link right now, which basically goes over here's what HTML is in a very basic way, from tags to the basic elements of it. Most of these are clickable. If you want to see them a little larger, you can see that. And I know a lot of you know these elements, but you may not know them as document, head, block, or inline elements. And it's kind of important to know those, and you can see later through the screencast and stuff more detail about that. But those are important things to know. And then what I have is two screencasts on YouTube. Here's one, here's the other, and these go through writing a basic HTML page. And these directly relate to the assignment, because the assignment is to take some questions I have and answer them as an HTML page, and I kind of go through a lot of that here in these screencasts if you need some help with that. The next part that's going to be necessary for the discussion board and the assignments that starts to tie all of this stuff together and bring it into focus in terms of our actual midterm project. And I know it's only the second week, but I want to get you guys started early thinking about your midterms so that we can get the really good projects. So this is the midterm design brief. It's a PDF file, and so if you go there and you open it, oops, I should have opened it in another application. That's okay. Um, it's not too long. It's relatively short, and it covers what the midterm is going to be about. So on the midterm projects, and I'll let you read this. I'm not going to get into it too much. It's a fictional site related to BMCC, and I'm going to be giving you all of the content for the site. So your job is to take that content, organize it, and create a design around it. Okay, so that's the midterm brief, so it'll be good to read that before you get to the next two sections as well, which, oops, I went too far, are the discussion board and the assignment. So on the discussion board, here I'll link out to that. It's for you've been briefed. Oh, and I apologize. Let me try to do this while we're talking here. I have the description on the outside, and I forgot to copy it into a post. Basically, it has some questions after reading the brief that I want you to answer. So that's there. Just post this in. Okay, and so basically that's why you're going to need to have the design brief in order to answer this discussion question. All right, so I have these questions here, and also make sure I have some ideas about responding to other people that I've talked about as well. And then on the assignments, the assignment for this week, it's to you'll see it here. Basically, answer these questions and also start your own inspiration examples based on the site, based on the design brief that's given as well. So if you don't know what the site's about, you got to read the brief to know that to be able to complete this homework. Okay, good luck as usual. Send me emails or ask me if you have any questions. You can ask them of me. If you sent one this weekend, sorry I had to not answer email for a while, so I'm gonna be starting back up again now on Monday, and it should be back to my normal, relatively quick answering of emails. Okay,